Chapter 20. Burying. The new semester started with, you guessed it, more snow. The ditches that lined the chip seal roads were buried deep from the snowplows. Cars more or less got stuck over them than ran off the road into them. It was weird, to be honest, but convenient safety feature of winters in the Maritimes. The roads themselves stopped being a mix of sand and chip seal, scraped flat, and turned into a massive swath of packed snow. There was no option for snow tires, or not. Hatchbacks and trucks alike sported chunky tread-filled tires that I once thought were only for off-road vehicles, and I would see them in the windows of the car dealerships. We were buried by the second week of the second semester, and everyone was used to it except me. I still shoveled the snow as high as I could, but the banks on either side of my driveway were getting higher and higher. On Thursday, mid-February, at about 5 o'clock in the morning, Shovelfest, I snowed the bank and snowbanked ride to school. I plunked my combination into my locker and heard the distinctive yet foreign sound of coins entering a vending machine from a few lockers down. It took me a while to recognize that I was in fact hearing money hit steel plates inside of a locker, but after a while it was a consistent plinking. That caught my attention as I leafed through my homework and got ready for classes that day. A line of freshmen had formed at Sean's locker and were inserting coins into the crack of his locker door. A permanent marker had indicated the correct location, with stars and arrows on the door itself. Sean was standing, nonchalantly as he could, given his height, across from the frenzied underclassmen. "What's going on?" I asked quizzically. These delightful students may have been given the impression that, given enough spare change inserted into the locker, a $10 bill might emerge, Sean said, casually looking down the hall for signs of teacher or Mr. Loxley. "And where did they get this impression, Sean?" I probed further, amazed that anyone would be dumb enough to fall for a prank so obvious. Notes on the boys' bathroom stalls downstairs," Sean said, twirling a thin permanent marker between his fingers. He quickly glanced down the hall and spotted an incoming Mr. Loxley and cleared his throat. The freshmen scattered, and the ever-watchful principal walked by with nothing more than a nod to Sean with a smile. He must have thought that we were talking about schoolwork. Once he was out of earshot, Sean stepped across the hallway and inserted a dime in for charity's sake, and then continued his explanation while the freshmen trickled back to the locker for their gambling. "I set the apparatus to $5 threshold yesterday, but cranked it to $35 today." "The apparatus?" I said. "Sean, are you stealing money from children? I am operating a completely compliant casino according to the government regulations." "Thank you very much," Sean retorted. And he looked at my quizzical stare and relented. "Okay, well, kind of. The school handbook doesn't technically say you can't make a slot machine out of your locker and fleece the sheep, but hey, there's rules bend, right?" I laughed, and my cheer erupted from the line of freshmen as an almost new purple $10 bill shot out from the bottom of Sean's locker. The students dispersed, and Sean opened his locker to show me the apparatus. He used the shop 3D printer to make a series of long, slender containers to catch coins and drop through the bottom slot of his locker door when rigged with a weight system to track how much was put in. And when the bucket was lined, the weight tripped a switch turning on a small wheel and rolled across the bill placed on the locker floor, sending the bill outward to the winner. "You're the kind of genius we need to worry about, aren't you?" I asked, mostly impressed but still dumbfounded at the freshman more than anything. "Oh, come on now," he said. "Your friendly neighborhood evil genius would never forget his drunken study buddy when he takes over the world." "Thanks, master," I joked. "Have you seen Sarah?" Sean hesitated for just long enough for me to notice. "What?" I probed. "Nothing," he said quickly, "an obvious and bad liar at best." "Don't you nothing me? You know something behind that nothing. What is it?" "Well, she's sick today, but that's not what you noticed," Sean said, with a sigh and a sheepish look on his face. She told me yesterday she thinks you hate her because of the whole Tony thing at the dance. And I tried to explain you're a cool guy who wouldn't be like that, and Tony's not a cool guy who would be like that, and she's generally avoiding this school, and you in particular, because of it." Ton of bricks, I tell you. I wanted to try to unpack that, but Sean seemed a source of info all of a sudden, so I asked one more question as the bell rang for class. "Oh, then what's with her and Tony then?" Sean looked at me, hard eye contact, and quizzically faced. "You don't know, do you?" "Know what?" I said, as the halls began to empty. "New guy, remember?" pointing in circles around my face. "Know about Tony and Cynthia and Sarah," he said, questioning himself as the tone as it should be even when talking to me. "I'm brand new here, Sean. How would I know anything about anyone?" I pleaded. "And who's Cynthia?" "Tony's ex-girlfriend, past, post, and, well, present. She would have been at the dance that night," Sean said, with a wince. "Look, if you don't know, I really shouldn't be the one telling you. Sarah is involved with those two in ways friends shouldn't talk about when not face-to-face," he explained. "Call me old-fashioned." You? Old-fashioned? I mocked as we headed to calculus. You have a coin-operated locker casino. What's old-fashioned about you? A Commodore 64? I said, trying to point out the ridiculous comparison of him being old-fashioned. I guess I'll ask Sarah when she finally decides to talk to me, I said. Good luck with that, Sean said, smiling flakily with a thumbs-up sign. We sat down at our desks to begin class. I wasn't happy about this convoluted drama grade 12 was turning into. How histories as insignificant as the teenagers could cause so much grief and apparently widespread pain for so many people. I was mad at Tony, but I wasn't mad at him for being Tony. But not mad because of him being Tony, but because he was capable of doing something that caused this kind of unrest. I daydreamed through the rest of my classes and most of the bus ride home, only waking up from them long enough to realize that it had snowed while we were at school and I had one more shoveling to do. Chapter 20. I tell you, that snow. It is unrelenting. Hope you guys like it. There are links to the books in below. Go check them out on Amazon, and we'll talk to you guys later.